Assalamu Alaikum everyone, I'm Hurray and welcome back. So in this tutorial we're gonna learn about more about classes as well as inheritance in classes. So let's get started. So I had my old bunch of code, I removed it. I should not have done that. So here is our old code. I just wanted to keep it over here. And we have our function set age print init a the init function. Now, what if we want to create a class that would inherit these functions as well as the init? What if we want to create a class similar to this? Just similar to this, but we would have to override something. So, for example, now let me just tell you. Imagine you're creating many classes like this, and you're overriding and overriding and overriding functions so many times that your code is going to look bad. So how to stop this? The only you can say solution for this is inheritance. You can inherit from a parent class. This is a parent class because it hasn't inherited from any other class, and a child class. So I'm just gonna create a class improve underscore data, and I'm gonna use parentheses to inherit from my class. So my underscore data is my class and I have inherited from it. So now I don't need to use these functions again over here or this one, because this class has already inherited overridden those methods inside of this function, but it hasn't completely overridden the init function. Why? Why is that so? Because we haven't set it for the child class. Python just does it for us. Now let me just name init. We would have to override init. Now in Python you use a super method to get all the attributes from your parent class. Now what happens? Now in Python, uh, when you run your init method while creating a object, it won't run this line of code. Won't run this line of code. What you do in Python is you use the super method. Super. Just click enter in PyCharm, and it will get all the init function from my data. So here I have super improved data. It's going to take the self as well as parent class and dot init. So improved data dot init, and this was the dot init. So here I have my init function from my parent class overridden, and I have inherited from that. Now I can play around and do whatever I want. For example, now I'm gonna just name hobby. Oh wait, hobby, hobby self dot hobby equals to hobby. Self dot hobby equals to hobby. So now I want to define, if I want to override the print underscore data, I would have to override that. I'm just gonna copy this, paste it over here, and add the lines. You love, you love the serve dot hobby you love doing serve dot hobby. So here is our class. Now we don't when we create objects we don't need to call this class my data. We don't need to call that because improved data underscore data has already inherited from that. Now I'll just show you in a moment. Data equals to improved underscore data, and it's again gonna take the improved underscore data. I don't think so. This is good. I might get an error. Yes, and I got. Two position arguments were given, but we take two position arguments. We were given. Oh my god. So I could only add a hobby over here. I think I'm just gonna leave that for now. I'm just gonna call the super method and run it. Oh, name and age. What did I miss out? I wrote my name and age. What am I doing here? Super serve.init. Name equals to Ahmed. Age equals to. These are not parameters anymore. I would have to call them through this. I think, or what do I have to do? Name. Do I really have to override the init function? Wait a minute. I'm looking here at the documentation, classes, objects, inheritance. The documentation says init function person.init. All right. So I would also have to use self name. I forgot to. I don't need to use this. Now what did I do? I'm following super.init. I don't need to use this. PyCharm just did it for me. I don't actually need that. So now it was run successfully. I have made my object. It was a lot of headache. So you should have jumped over here. I have my code running. I just had that PyCharm's problem itself. Super overriding init name and age. Now I can call the data dot string for data. Your name is Ahmed. You are 19 years old. You love doing something that I wanted to add, but I didn't. Hobby. That's dot hobby equals to hobby. New hobby. That's dot hobby. And add a hobby program. Your name is Ahmed. You are 19 years old. You love doing programming. I'm sorry I took a long time in inheriting this one. I didn't look at uh, I didn't look at the documentation. Now this is it for inheritance. And how much time do we have? We have 9 minutes left to fulfill 20 minutes. You will see that we can also use the set age method, even though we haven't used the set age function inside of our input data. Set age data dot print for data and print our code. And we were 19 years old, then we are 20 years. You can use classes very easily. They're cool, they're very useful to use. You can play around with classes, do whatever you want to do, and I think this is it. So now what do we have? Yeah, now I have end of series introduction. You can say end of series finally. So we have reached our end of series. Now for the next series I'm gonna call another series Python for intermediate. There will be learning more in depth about Python, such as file handling, generators, decorators, and much more that are really advanced. And if you have come upon here, practice your Python code, practice your programming, watch over my tutorials, practice them again and again so that you can be an expert in Python programming. If you don't get along with all these objectives that we learned in the previous tutorial and this tutorial, you won't be able to learn the fundamentals of Python. So whenever you start learning a programming language or a module inside that language or a library, you need to know and learn the fundamentals of that programming language. Python is very easy, not very hard, not very harsh. You don't have to write so much code, unlike other programming languages. You, it's only a bunch of code, very powerful. You can create your own modules inside of Python. So in the next series, we're gonna look at Python intermediates. Okay, so this is the end of the video, and meet you guys in the next one, in the next video, or in the next series. Thank you.